Thank you, Helen. Thank you very much indeed for that glittering introduction. And hello, everybody. It's lovely to see everyone. I echo what Helen was saying at the start, that I'm becoming existentially dependent on these Friday afternoon readings for company and cultural nourishment during this latest lockdown. So it's great to see some familiar faces as well as some new ones. I think can see my old English teacher, Keith Chandler, who's an extremely fine poet himself on this call, who I've not seen for many years, who's someone I owe a lot, introduced me to some fabulous writers when I was a young upstart. So it's beautiful to see you, Keith. I hope I haven't misidentified yourself there. And also a delight to be reading with Kerry. That was an extraordinary set of poems, as well as April and Sue. So as Kerry teed up, I'm conscious that everyone, or at least a lot of us, will be afflicted by adverse, frigid and punishing cold weather at the moment. So I thought I'd be contrarian, as Helen positioned to try and take us to some different climes. I thought I'd read a few poems which attempt to evoke heat, aridity, humidity, and dryness. So I'll kick off with a poem from Ulterior Atmospheres. This is called Lines from a Lost Location Scout. Nothing but the hard pan, sun harrowed, and the torrid plains, which brook no taming by settlements or road. Cacti pose as hitches, egret chicks, scragged coyote pelts, a 10-wheeler, oxidized, crisped, in the brush, the hiss of slicing stubble. A planned penitentiary only got so far, and the chain gang vanished, leaving a ground scar. A split sheriff's shield in a patch of flax and the wild lupine that shoots from the mud cracks. The whole vista, its syrupy of russets, could fade into the titles or closing credits. The bourbon bister of the pump hand, we should cast him as the mute son. He shook as he filled my jerry can. A rattler's head for his belt clasp told me, "Miss, your tires won't take to this terrain." His tongue made clapboard clacks. This next poem is another poem which, again, as I mentioned, attempts to generate heat and humidity, although it has, just contra to my philosophy, it has rain in it. So I'm just conscious that my Britishness just drags us back to foul weather. So I do apologise that I've broken the rule already. It's called In the Highest Infinity Pool on Earth. I don't know where the highest infinity pool on Earth is, so I imagined it and invented it, and I positioned it in a war zone. In the highest infinity pool on Earth. Who cares who we are in the real world? Whether mozzies have a special predilection for my bloodstream? They're bootless bugs at this altitude, on a par with Cradle Shaker, the peninsula's tallest peak. The hazel pizzazz of your two-tour tan clashes with my frazzled rawhide, then takes on a different hue seen through the beveled cadence of the pool. Our soaking is compounded by the open spigot rain, emissary of the coming monsoon. Fugitives at 1,500 feet, the closest we'll get to levitation in this ecology of chlorine and gauche silence that makes our ears pop. Keep sculling, treading, though keep from the edge, the vertiginous threshold which gives out to the serial bombardment, TV choppers chugging by the swordfish aerials of the minion skyscrapers, searchlights accusing the deluged expats, the ruined coastline. I write a lot of poems. I have a sequence of poems which is desperately in need of a title, about venomous snakes, or that use a different species of venomous snake as the organizing principle for the poem, just to give me an excuse and some legitimacy to write, not necessarily literally about them, but about their habitat and in some respects their mythology and reputation. And 2 or 3 of them have appeared in various places. I'm going to read one which was published last year in this brilliant American journal called Deep Wild, which is poetry and writing and art from which focuses on the outdoors. I think the editor lives in Wyoming, And they're a great team there. They were really lovely to work with. This poem's called Inland Taipan Country Roamers. So the inland taipan is regarded as possibly the world's most venomous land snake. Although it's very reclusive, it located in central Australia, and it has a fierce reputation. It's otherwise known as the fierce snake, but it's actually rather timid and rarely comes into contact with humans. And I took the liberty of creating a search party who are intent and bent on finding one, who are the titular inland taipan country roamers. These deserts are ghost oceans, hostile and volcanic dry. We've traversed in our quest for the fierce recluse. We cover, we transect, we survey the bronzed earth, arid depressions, inselbergs and vents, some hectares from the last cultivated land of canola crops, maize and blazed barley, the last waterhole where we've filled our gallon cylinders. We gauge salinity and acidity, the fault scarps and erosions, but no sign, no telltale outline in the siltstone, no dice in the canyon lagoon, but for a camel carcass, a bearded dragon and rainbow skink on the extinction brink. A barren town, one roadhouse come hardware store, a wizened ibis picking around the tramways and stockyards, a makeshift tabernacle serving the debris population, less than 100. A single taipan yield could kill double that. They're preening elusive, ready or not, in the sedge groves, on the interdune ranges, a mystery as old and calloused as these opal caves, incised gutters and amber ridges. As the shade unfolds the hill slopes, the jagged slabs and gorges, we re-swab our lips with fly repellent, rub the steroid and glucose into our gums and resume search, headlong, scab and scatter-eyed into the scorching wind. But as all things must, we should succumb to winter, and I'll finish with a relatively brief couple of poems which do just that. The first is, I wanted to write about a film festival. So again, as is the pattern, I created my own and located it within winter. I think I was seeing some images or videos from the Cannes Film Festival and thought, why are they always in such wonderful, glamorous locations? What if there was one in an almost Arctic environment? So I've created it, and one day maybe I'll curate it. It's called the Wintercrest Film Fest. Aravist hotshots lambast bellhops. Reception froths with cineasts, fanboys, doyens of the blogosphere, a voluntary cadre of brochure and pocket map peddlers. The heaters are jacked. The ubiquitous tripods are sci-fi visitants. The foyer pianist dallies a downbeat razzmatazz. The all-access lanyards are coloured in degrees of prestige. The crew and cast of a native indie gem commandeer a river barge shuffling through scripts and schists of ice. We'd cadged our way here for an audience with the Helmer of the debut picture in his Spidering on the Inside trilogy, blagged our way into the marathon junket at the Fringe Town guest house where there is a surfeit of housemaids and a dearth of guests. Cabbies loaf outside intoning the vital destinations, terminus, neutral zone, discotheque. And I'll cruise into the last poem, which I think I've got time to read. And again, it's from the collection Ulterior Atmospheres. And I'm very interested in, which I know a lot of people are as well, I'm interested in non-places and non-spaces. I'm interested in abandonment and dereliction, lost towns, ghost towns, etc. And so I wanted to write about one, but I thought I'd create my own just because it gave me a little bit more artistic license. And I christened the town Hushful Vale. Hushful Vale. You feel watched, unwelcome, posthumously passing through. But Hushful Vale is rundown, expressionless. If this town could mutter, it would in drizzle and shoals of soil blown onto the college concourse. Every weather system plays consultant, plays counsel, plays coroner, concocts the draft for recovery. But still the stores are boarded up, the mailboxes starve, everything altered in the way reality always is. Frost spattered foundations, freeze weakened bleachers, a basketball, a tricycle, supermarket carts, all the accoutrements of quaintly decline. Some hovels stand, cruciform shapes on the drain pipes, sandbanks against the paper pulping mill, a Lucky Liberty statuette impaled on a picket fence. You test for an echo with a yowl that's swallowed in the trembling elms, step over a rust-puzzled fender on the underpass. An agri-chemical effluvium pervades the aspen tops. This place is a loathing state. Empty gurneys in the brooder barns, inscrutables sprayed on the palisades. The only people you see are the ones you delve into yourself for, a micropopulation multiplying, and all your hallowed years long bulldozed away. Shall I finish there on that cheery note?